Hey everyone, Aiden here, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over how you can go ahead and set up a cold email campaign and generate more leads and close more B2B deals for your company. So, if you guys don't already know, cold email is probably one of the most consistent lead generation channels, especially for B2B companies. Using cold email, you're able to predictably reach out to groups that are groups of people who are right within your ICP and target market, and you can effectively scale your outreach, and you can do it relatively cheaply compared to other methods. So, how do you actually go about setting up a good cold email campaign? Well, to start out, obviously you're going to want to have to go ahead and craft an irresistible offer, right? So obviously what you sell is the core of your email campaign, right? If you don't have something to sell, you can't run a cold email campaign. If what you have to sell isn't good, no one is going to buy anything, right? So to start out, you must go ahead and craft your offer. What is it that you are offering, and to whom are you offering your service or your product to, right? So you have to identify a unique value proposition of your product or service. So what this means is you have to clearly define who or at least what sets your product or service apart, right, from other competing solutions to the problems of your market. And you also have to be very specific on how it will solve a specific pain point of your market, right? So let's say you're serving agencies, or you're serving coaches, right? And you're hitting up people who are running a lot of ads on Facebook. Well, you can go ahead and pitch them a way to go ahead and get clients without having to use ads, right? Since ad spend obviously would be a pain point in that situation. So now you would want to go ahead and kind of think about like what is the hook of your offer, right? So what's the big transformation that you're selling to people with your offer, right? So you have to go ahead and create a compelling headline that grabs the attention of your prospect. So your headline, not only should it be attention grabbing, but it uh, also should align with the unique whatever you're providing with your product or service, right? So for example, if you're selling a short form content, you could say, hey, we help double the audience of coaches and consultants within 30 days without them having to do any extra work, right? So it's completely done for you. So that would be your offer, right? You're doubling the audience of these coaches. That's the transformation that you're selling, with your service. So, moving on from that, you're obviously going to want to have social proof as much as you obviously can. You're going to want to use, customer testimonials, just anything that can kind of show and build you up as an authority in doing whatever you're servicing to your audience, obviously, right? Since people are more likely to buy from someone they can trust, and building up that trust using social proof, testimonials, your other social medias, other content. It's a great way to build rapport with your prospect before they even hop on a call with you. So yeah. So finally, you're gonna want to go ahead and decide on a very clear call to action that prompts the recipient of your email to go ahead and take a next step, right? So your CTA should be very clear and specific. So it could be something like, hey, do you have a chance to speak next week, 15 minutes on this day, right? That would be a hard call to action, or you could go ahead and do a softer call to action, right? Which would be like, hey, I went ahead and made a video for you, or hey, I made this case study that showcases how we delivered this transformation, right? So yeah, that would be like a soft call to action. It would just say, hey, would you like some more information? So typically, the soft call to action it works a lot better because it's a lot more spammy and it has a lot lower barrier to response. But you could always go ahead and test it. It really just depends on your niche and the market that you're going ahead and targeting. So aside from that, you're gonna really want to drill down an ICP, right? So if you don't know an ideal target customer, it's gonna be really really hard to niche down your messaging for a target customer. So you're gonna want to go ahead and define them by characteristics such as demographics would be more kind of like B2C, but obviously B2B, you're going to want to figure out what industry the company that you're targeting is in. You're going to want to figure out what are their specific pain points, right? So what is that business specifically dealing with that that they're going to want, that they're willing to pay to get help with, right? So let's say it's a med spa, right? Or let's say you're servicing a SaaS company, right? Maybe their website just sucks for some reason. Like even though they're web developer, they're developers, their website for some reason is just not optimized to be, make sales, right? Maybe it looks really nice, but it just sucks in terms of delivering a sales messaging. So you could go ahead and go in and be like, hey, maybe your website is not delivering as many leads as you want it to be delivering, right? So I'm going to go ahead and optimize your website and increase your conversion rate by this many percentage points. So you have to really like figure out who the hell you're targeting, and so that way you can go ahead and find people who actually want whatever it is that you're offering. So using this information, so obviously what problems your product or service can solve and who it would be good for, you want to go ahead and create your target profile. So make sure that things like their industry, company size, revenue, where they're located, just things like that, basic stuff. So like I said, you want to go ahead and use this ICP to go ahead and tailor and niche down your messaging, so that it really resonates with your audience, right? Because if you go ahead and let's say you're doing just marketing agencies, right? Well, a marketing agency that works with solar companies is probably going to be a little bit different in the way it operates than a marketing agency that does SEO for affiliate marketing websites, right? It's so you really have to kind of like know what are their pain points, and that's where having ICP and drilling down your messaging really helps you out, right? So next up, you're obviously going to want to actually go ahead and find leads to reach out to, right? So you have to go ahead and find a place to gather a list of prospects that you'll be reaching out to. So you could do this through a site like LinkedIn. You could go ahead and hop on Google and just pull emails from company sites, or you could just use other online resources like DNB. You could use Yellow Pages, stuff like that, to go ahead and pull company data. And another way you could go ahead and find leads is actually go ahead and scrape databases, right? So this is probably the better way, in my opinion. You could utilize lead database tools such as Clay.run, Apollo.io, which is probably the best one. You could use things like Seamless, or you can go ahead and scrape directories, right? So Apollo, Clay.run, and Seamless, you could go ahead and find individual people. On directories, you would find actual companies, which it's a little bit less. It's you have to do a little bit more work, but directories are really good. So like for example, if you're looking for marketing agencies, you could go ahead and scrape Clutch.co. If you're looking for softwares, you could go on G2. You could go ahead and just do a simple Google search for top agencies in wherever you are, right? And it'll pull up a database or a directory of a list of agencies, right? So and then from there you could also go ahead and find emails. But if you don't want to go ahead and spend the money on a lead database, right, and the cost of leads from there, I'll show you in the next step how you could save money by enriching data. So yeah, but for example, a search we would do is let's say you're an IT company, right? And you're going to be wanting to target companies in a specific area. So let's say you want to specify your messaging for software companies. You could go ahead and put in a search for software companies, servicing maybe real estate agents or something like that in San Francisco or Mississauga over in Canada or something like that, right? So another example would be if you're on Clutch.co scraping directories, right? Like let's say you work with agencies or service-based agencies, you could go ahead and niche down and target BPO service agencies, right? Business process outsourcing. So you could go ahead and niche down your messaging to the specific pain points and the specific needs of BPO agencies, right? So those are some examples of how you could go ahead and go about searching leads on databases, right? So the next step would be going ahead and actually going ahead and pulling the emails, right? So usually a lot of people, they'll go ahead and just buy leads from Fiverr or Upwork, but I would always recommend going ahead and going through and scraping the leads and then enriching them on your own, because it's going to allow you to get a lot more quality data and a lot more quality leads most of the time. So enrichment tools, they're really great because they allow you to do this cheaply, because typically if you were to use a tool like ZoomInfo, even Apollo or Seamless, you're going to be paying thousands and thousands of dollars a year, and it's a lot more expensive. So yeah, data enrichment tools. Here's how you kind of go about it. Is you know, well, starting out, what a data enrichment tool is it allows you to gather more information about a potential lead, right? So you could have a lead's first name and last name and company information, and you don't have to have their email or any of their social profiles. These tools will go ahead and pull an email and sometimes even a phone number for you, right? So yeah, so tools that do this would be something like Find Email, right, which is really great for Apollo, Solve.io, Hunter.io, Use Artemis, which is an AppSumo deal, LeadRocks, which used to be an AppSumo deal, Finder.io, and there's just a plethora of other tools you could go ahead and use. So yeah, from there you're gonna want to go ahead and actually go and clean your email list, right? Because a lot of times data might not be the most accurate, even if you go ahead and use these enrichment tools, because people are constantly moving companies, they're constantly changing roles, and they're constantly getting new emails. So yeah, you have to make sure that you go ahead and clean your list using a tool like Zero Bounce or email list validation. So make sure that you're getting as few bounces as possible, because if your email bounce rate is too high, if it's anything higher than like 5%, you're going to start ending up in spam, right? And if you're in spam, you're not going to reach people's inbox. If you don't reach people's inbox, people aren't going to reply and book meetings. So using this information, sometimes you'll have like a LinkedIn, you'll have a website, you'll just have a couple more data points that you can work with. So yeah, you could use whatever information you get to personalize, obviously to your niche, right? So for example, we help California-based solar companies build out door-to-door sales teams, right? So you're speaking to a specific target market, right, which is California, speaking to a target niche, solar companies, and you're speaking about a specific pain point, which is obviously sales and lead generation for these solar companies. So from there, finally, obviously you're going to want to go ahead and actually send out the emails. So to be able to do this, you're going to want to go ahead and create professional email addresses and get a bunch of domains for your outreach. So what you're going to want to do is with the reason why you want to have a professional email and domain is it's pretty much just to build trust of like the email gods, right? If you don't have a professional email address and if you don't have separate domains to go ahead and send your emails from, you're just going to go ahead and land in spam, and obviously no one wants that. So and then from there you're going to want to go ahead and set up SPF, DKIM, DMARC, and MX records, because if you don't have those, once again, you end up in spam, right? That's kind of like probably one of the biggest problems of most companies with cold email is they're landing in spam, right? So you don't want to do that. So another way to avoid landing in spam is max amount of email accounts per domain is only 3, and you don't want to send any more than 25 to 40 emails per inbox per day. So as for actually automating, you're sending your sequences and all that, you want to use a tool like Lemlist, SmartLead, or Instantly. You don't want to be using a tool like ActiveCampaign or MailChimp, because those are email sending softwares where typically you'll be sending to a warm list, right? So for cold email, you're going to want to use different softwares and a different type of email sending software. So tools like Lemlist, SmartLead, Instantly, Mailshake, stuff like that, specifically designed for cold email. So yeah, email automation tools, they're super powerful because they allow you to scale your sending volumes pretty much infinitely. Just really depends on how many domains and email accounts you have. You can start sending hundreds or even thousands of emails per day to people completely on autopilot. So, at that volume of outreach, obviously you're going to be reaching a ton of people, and from there booking a ton of calls. So, yeah, from there, in terms of your campaign, you're going to want to use email tracking to your advantage to monitor, open rates and reply rates. You're going to want to be split testing different aspects of your cold email, right? So like your subject line, your actual copy, your offer, your call to action. You're going to want to be split testing all these using these different tools to maximize your reply rate, right? Like if you can get your reply rate from, let's say, 2% to 3%, you just done a 50% increase in warm inbound leads, right? So constantly split test. These tools, they're meant for you to do that. They have the ability for you to split test, so take advantage of it. So finally, Obviously, you're going to want to go ahead and scale the system up to however many emails per day you want to send, and take yourself out of the process of cold email outreach, because doing outreach yourself is a super time consuming process, right? Like if you're going ahead and doing cold email by yourself and writing every single email and sending it out by yourself, you're spending a couple hours per day, and you're maybe sending maybe 50 to 80 emails, right? So you're spending a lot of time to do maybe like a decent amount of outreach at the most, right? So it's not very efficient for you. So what you're going to be wanting to do is, instead of going ahead and doing it yourself, right, like scraping together lists, segmenting and personalizing your email copy, and then actually going ahead and trying to split test, what you're saying in your email to go ahead and optimize your reply rates. You should be outsourcing these tasks to like a virtual assistant, or a cold email agency like ourselves, right? So here at Expansively, if you don't know, we'll go ahead and build out your lead generation and outreach systems for you, completely done for you, so you're not going to have to lift a finger from the time that you reach out to your prospect to the time that they go ahead and book onto your calendar. So the only time you're going to be coming in is to go ahead and actually show up and take the call and close your prospect on your service, right? So yeah, if you found this video helpful, then make sure and leave a like and comment and subscribe. And if you're interested in just a walkthrough of our process, and just to see if, and just going ahead and seeing if our process would be a good fit for you in whatever you're offering, then go ahead and book a call down below. I'm not gonna have anything to sell you on this call. All we're gonna do is just kind of like ask you a couple questions about your company, what you guys are already doing to get customers, and just figure out if we could go ahead and implement the system for you and your company. And if you like it, if you like what you see, if you if you think we're a good fit, then we could potentially move forward. So yeah, go ahead and book a call down below if you're interested. And yeah, until next time, peace out.